The following program is sponsored by the Today's Home Remodeler television network.
Welcome to today's Home Remodeler. I'm Stuart Keith, and on today's show, we're following along a whole house remodel. We'll begin by meeting with Andy Lindus from Lindus Construction, who will introduce our project and talk about some of the challenges of remodeling a 100-year-old home. Next, we'll check out the construction of a new composite deck system being installed. And we'll finish up reviewing some of the carpentry work being done, along with the installation of a new projection window and door. So we have a lot to cover today. We'll get started right after these messages. Remodeling can be challenging in any home, but can you imagine a home that's over 100 years old? Well, that's just what we're going to be doing on today's show as we begin with our remodeling consultant, Andy Lindus, to review some of the challenges his company is dealing with as they begin this kitchen and whole house remodeling project. Wow, Andy, the guys are really working hard on this remodeling project. Now, what's the situation here?
Well, it started out as just a refacing the cabinets, a minor kitchen remodel. But then we started really getting into it and finding out what the wishes were, what the wants were. It's turned into redoing the whole entryway, a couple of different doors, windows, all new cabinets. We ended up actually redoing the floor, the ceiling, everything.
Oh my gosh, and when we pulled up here, this looked to be a pretty old house.
Yeah, this house is over 100 years old. You look at the original abstract and it actually references a wagon trail. That's how you know you're dealing with an old house. And I'm telling you, once we tear into these walls, it's an old home.
Well, throughout the next couple of shows, I'm anxious to get into learn more about some of the challenges that you overcame on a project like this. And you said that they originally called you just to reface some cabinets. And I remember in previous shows, so many of your projects seem to start out that way. And to me, it seems as though that's one of your priorities is to get to know the homeowners to see if that's really the only thing that they really want to get done in their hearts.
Well, customers reach out to us really when they don't know exactly what they want, but they just want to start the conversation of what could be. And that's really what our job is. Our job is to not only come in and find out what do you need, but what do you want. And I know if I can get close to what they want, they're going to be happy customers.
And ultimately, that's what you're after is a happy customer. And more importantly, it's their home. They should be happy with the end result. They shouldn't be left wanting more when it's done.
All projects are special, but when you really get into somebody's kitchen, you're doing a whole main floor remodel. This is something you're going to make sure you cross every T, dot every I, and make sure that every aspect is taken care of. When you leave, this is going to be a showpiece.
Does experience really play a role when you're working on a home this old?
Experience is everything. It'd be one thing to build brand new construction or in addition off of plans. But on a project like this, you really don't know what you're going to get into until you tear up the floor, tear into the ceiling, tear into a wall. They didn't have a range hood at all. All that stuff had to be custom fit through there. The electrical work behind here would have been piecemealed together over the last 100 years. All of that had to go. I couldn't tell if it was in code or not in code until I got into the wall. So
that said, how do you go about creating a bid?
It does have its challenges, but with experience like we have a good guesstimate, and we put some allowances in there and say, you know what, best case scenario, this is where your remodeling project's going to come in at. Worst case scenario, then we put a ceiling on it, so it's not a big shocker. If you don't have that type of range with your contractor and you're just going to be dealing with change orders, that's when the final sit down can get a little bit testy. So try to put as much up front as we possibly can, but until we tear into a project like this, you really don't know.
So let's quickly walk through here, because you mentioned it evolved into much more than just a kitchen remodel. So
yeah,
take a quick tour. Tell us what's being done.
These awesome bamboo floors were put in last week. The Omega cabinets here, installing today and tomorrow. 2 different types of cabinets, one for the island, one for cabinetry along the wall. Same manufacturer, just different finishes, something that the homeowners are really looking forward to, wanting to break up the room. That's another thing. You know, with the room being out of whack, well, a couple of tricks of the trade to either break up the ceiling and the floor so you can hide some of those things.
Oh, sure. And you know, I had a chance to just introduce myself to the homeowners and said, what was their number one concern with this? I'm thinking, you know, more light, more this. It was that it was an American-made product going in.
Cabinets made in Iowa. We got new windows getting installed tomorrow that are made in Ohio. Doors are made in Ohio. Flooring came from Kansas. And the actual ceiling came from a forest in Wisconsin. And it was finished here about 20 miles away.
Boy, that's wonderful. So you're accomplishing your goals and their wants, needs, and desires in this project. And although the kitchen is the focal point, this project all started on the outside, right?
Yeah, the first thing we did was build a brand new deck. Now, when you first come to this home, this deck, it's the entryway into the home. It was an old 25-year-old cedar deck, and you couldn't really reuse any of the bracing, and just showing its age. It had a bench that was kind of rotting away, so really refinishing it, yeah, you could have. But what does that get you? Another 2-3 years. So I reached out to my friends at Zuri, was able to put a maintenance-free deck on. It's getting all finished tomorrow, so 3 days, the deck build will be completely done. It really is going to be a showpiece. The people are going to not even want to walk into the house. This deck will be so awesome.
Stay tuned. We'll take a closer look at the products and see the construction of our new deck next, when we continue with today's Home Remodeler. Outdoor living space is a great investment for homeowners who enjoy being outside and entertaining around their home. In our project, a new maintenance-free deck system is being added as part of their whole house remodel. So let's catch up with our contractor, Andy Lindus from Lindus Construction, to learn more about it. Now, Andy, another aspect of this major full house remodel is the deck, and the guys have done a wonderful job. I mean, this is going to be an awesome entertainment area. And what I'd like to find out more about is the design process, construction process, but let's start by asking the question, are a lot of people doing this, creating outdoor living space?
More and more demand for not just outdoor decks. They want spaces that they can use more throughout the year. True outdoor living spaces, whether that includes an outdoor kitchen, a seating area, a water garden. There's a lot of different things that we've done for customers, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, you know, we've said earlier, you guys do a lot of exterior remodeling, you're into the interior remodeling, but we've never talked about the deck building process, and I assume that starts with the design. So if I'm a homeowner out there, probably the first and foremost question I have is, how do you design a deck? Because what's best for my situation? Can you assist them with that?
Yeah, you know, I have very specific deck designers. I mean, that's all they do at Lindus Construction. One of our guys will come out to your house, take a look at the footprint that we're going to be dealing with, what your needs, what your wants are, and try to design a deck that's not only going to fit in your budget, but it's going to be everything that you dreamed of.
Boy, and when I look at decks, when I saw this one, I thought it was wood because I'm so used to seeing, whether it's pressure treated wood or cedar decking, redwood decking. I got on here, it's a composite. Is this a new product? I mean, has the industry evolved when you're talking about composite decking?
Absolutely. We've been using composite decking more and more and more over the last, 10 years. 10 years ago, maybe 20% of the total decks that we did were composite. Now it's over 80% of our total decks we do are going to be one of the composite materials.
Seems to me that to get your best value, you want to work with a company that's experienced in working with different decks, lots of experience putting different styles up, right down to the footings themselves. Do you need to have permits in most municipalities?
Yeah, absolutely. Permits and the site plans need to be done anytime we're doing a deck. And like I told you before, my guys that install windows only install windows. Same with our deck crews. All they do is install decks every day, so they get not only very efficient at it, they know all the tricks of the trade to make it look good and what needs to be done in the cities that they're working in.
Yeah, and taking a look at this one, this is looking great. Now, what specifically, as far as the product is concerned, is this deck? Because again, it looks like authentic wood.
As far as all the composites go out there, I don't think any of them can hold a candle to Zuri, not only in aesthetics and durability. I think that this product looks more like natural wood than any of the other ones, and I know it's a lot more durable. One of the problems with some of the other composite decking that we've used over the years is any type of furniture sometimes rubbing on it, or say a rock gets stuck on a shoe, sometimes can scratch or gouge the actual decking itself. When I first saw this, the first thing I did was grab a piece of it and took a key and actually started rubbing that on there. And I did that forever and ever. And this is just a nail here, and I can do this forever. And I mean, it looks like it was brand new. It really is. So
you're taking a nail. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty durable stuff in our climate, and just knowing I want something that's not going to last 5 years, 10 years. I want something that's going to be there as long as you're in the home and something we can put our name on. This is the decking I would use in my own home, so this is what we recommend to all of our customers.
Well, seeing's believing, and they're obviously going to get some great longevity out of the deck. Now, what about the railing system? It's very attractive in this setting.
Not only is it maintenance-free, I think that this railing system, the Fortress railing system that we use, is the most attractive one that we can put on. I love the Zuri product and a lot of the composite decking, but I've never liked the composite decking railing. Even when we do a cedar deck, I always tell people, we put on a regular deck, let's put the Fortress rail system on, because you know as well as I do, when you have to refinish a deck, it's about 3/4 of the time is refinishing the rail system, the rest of it's finishing the deck. So if you can,
that's being generous. 3/4 of that. It's horrible. It's a terrible way to spend your weekend, restaining the spindles and the rail system. So I'm with you on that. You want to go with a good quality metal railing. Okay, now how is this adhered to the deck?
Well, we put in our posts, we screw into the deck multiple places.
I mean, this is sturdy, and that's what I've seen on other decks, is that you touch a corner post and it starts to wobble, and the last thing you want to worry about is guys our size leaning up against it and falling over. Now, Andy, what are you going to do here on the step? This is kind of open. I know you're going to need a railing in there.
We actually have a rack railing system here. We still have to cut the size, so once we get the size cut, little brackets attached to the actual post, attach your railing to there, clip it off, be sturdy and a very clean look.
So again, the evolution in the industry, even though it's probably the most sturdy railing system out there, it's easy for the guys to install.
Yeah, I would say that this railing system is the easiest railing system to install out of all the other maintenance-free systems out there.
And as sturdy as the posts are, the deck itself felt so sturdy to me when I was walking on it. I mean, there must be a ton of lumber in here.
With how heavy the actual composite decking is, we're going to have to build the deck with 1 foot on center. We get this question.
1 foot on center?
Yeah, 1 foot on center. People always want to try to reuse their existing frame or build onto their existing frame because they think it's going to be a big money saver for them. Actuality, the framing part of the deck is about 10% of your total cost. So when you factor that in, I mean, we're putting on a deck that's supposed to last a lifetime. Let's frame it all nicely, put the proper footings in. We actually had to use 2 different footings on this one. A couple of spots we actually had to hand dig them in because we were worried about where the sewer pipes were coming out and how far down they were.
I like those footings that you used here. Those are unique. I've never seen those before.
Those are the diamond pierce systems. We have a specially designed jackhammer that actually puts in 4-foot-long pipes in all different directions. And I mean, the amount of earth that would have to move for the diamond pier system to move, it's an amazing thing. I believe that the diamond pier is going to be the most structurally sound footing that you can absolutely put in.
Sure. So again, to me, what you're saying is that the industry has evolved, so now you have maintenance-free, durable, super strong products. And if you're an educated consumer and do your homework, you're not going to be asking to reuse the framing material because it wouldn't make sense if you understand the process. And if you're building a deck to last a lifetime, you don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish.
Exactly.
Stick around. We'll continue with our kitchen and whole house remodeling project next, here on today's Home Remodeler. So far in today's show, we've been following the whole house remodeling of this 100-year-old home, which includes a new kitchen, a new deck, and some new windows and doors. So let's once again meet up with Andy Lindus to see how the Lindus Construction crews are installing some of these products. Well, Andy, Mike's making some nice progress on this. This is looking just beautiful, these cabinets. I like what they selected here. Now, let's step back. What did the old farmhouse kitchen actually look like?
You know, it was a small kitchen. You know, two people trying to work in at once, constantly running into each other. It had that old false soffit that came down to the top of the cabinet, a little countertop that came over, a little space for you to sit at, and then, of course, the dining room table that really never got dined at.
Boy, this is going to be a beautiful transformation, that's for sure. Nice and open and inviting. Now, you alluded to it being a 110-year-old house, a lot of challenges. How'd you get it to this stage?
Well, a lot of prep work that goes in. Once we got most of the demo work done, we started to put a level on things and start to realize just how out of whack this house really was. And this wall in particular had some challenges. It was about 1.5 inches out of plumb. That means the top of the wall actually went outside where the bottom of the wall was by about 1.5 inches. So trying to put cabinets or anything on that wall and make it level was going to be a challenge. So what we did is we actually sistered in new studs all the way along this wall. At the bottom of the studs, they were flush. Anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches, they were pulled out before the plywood was actually put on.
Boy, well, again, you go with the right company. They have the experienced craftsmen to overcome that. Now, did you take advantage of the opportunity to help the energy efficiency by adding some insulation?
Yeah, you know, actually, a funny story, we sided this house about 30 years ago. And when we sided it, we put 3/4 inch foam on it. But even with that 3/4 inch foam, we knew that we wanted to make these old 2x4 walls not only soundproof, the most energy efficient we possibly could. So yeah, we had the spray foam guys come in, and I think it's going to make quite the difference.
So the look is going to be updated, the energy efficiency is going to be updated, so it's going to be a nice, comfortable home, that's for sure. What about up top? It looks like they went with a range hood here. How challenging was that?
Yeah, you know, this house, like I said, older home, it's been through its fair share of remodeling. I mean, I can tell there was an old staircase that went up through here, evidence of an old fire. There's 3 different types of flooring, and I don't know where all these floor joists came in at over the years, but it was really hard to try to get this to flush mount. And knowing the height of this and to be able to get up here and work the controllers, if you didn't want to get the remote, it made sense to drop that down instead of moving those joists. We're going to be able to box this in with some nice whitewashed wood, really give it a nice clean look, make it a focal point of the kitchen.
Boy, it's going to be functional too, because you're going to have the cooktop here, you said. It's going to be able to exhaust any of the gas. And I like that this was going to be a flush mount. I mean, I can see it right there. Yet you overcame it. Again, a testament to the professionals putting their minds together in a project like this. Hey, there's got to be a way. If there's a will, there's a way. Now, over here in this corner, I'm looking up at one of the new 2x4s you put up there to support the ceiling. One corner, it is almost tight with the floor joists. This corner, you're 2 inches down. Is that what you're talking about?
You know, over the 100 years, this house has settled so much. You got a new addition here. You have 3 different types of subfloor. So when you're measuring from floor to joist, there's a big difference. Like I said, it could be about 2 inches of a difference in about, what, 14 feet? That's where having that transit come in, shooting a level, making sure you're measuring up there so when you sit back and you actually look at the ceiling, it is level. Up above, not perfectly level. All that's hidden doesn't matter. We're going to make this as clean of a look and as level of a look as you possibly can.
And in my personal opinion, what I like is you didn't lose the headroom. It's still a good 8 or 9 foot high ceiling, so it's a nice open environment for people to enjoy. And everybody loves the central gathering place, the kitchen. Now, what about the front entryway? I saw the guys working on the door. Did that present any unique challenges?
Yeah, you know, remodeling always has challenges. New construction, probably have that door installed in 15 minutes to a half hour. Remodeling sometimes can take several hours to make things work properly. The opening wasn't perfectly level. You had to cut out the old door through the old cement. You had to chisel away some of the old mortar. Not a lot of rot in this door. That was real surprising for a 25-year-old door, so no wood really had to be replaced, but it had to be built down and then shimmed properly to get the reveal to work, and hopefully have a brand new working door here in about 10 minutes.
Be sure to catch the next episode of today's Home Remodeler as we finish up our kitchen and whole house remodeling project with Lindus Construction.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Today's Home Remodeler television network.